It's Ron Reader digs the universe. I'm Ron Reader, and this is Ron Reader Digs the Universe, and tonight, King David's Nads. Last week, in Florida, the public charter Tallahassee Classical School forced its principal to resign, apparently because she failed to notify parents and get permission slips before giving the 6th grade classical art class she taught a lesson on Michelangelo's statue of David. You know the one. It's likely the most iconic image of the Italian Renaissance, must see for anybody who wants to know anything about Western civilization. I mean, you know, for an institution that calls itself classical, this is pretty fucked up. What is going on with this school? At first glance, you might think this has something to do with the state's draconian new anti-learning laws, and that's definitely in play because it is a public charter school, meaning that it's funded with Florida taxpayer money, but Tallahassee Classical is way ahead of the curve on this. That's because the classical school movement is a far right-wing stealth operation aimed at indoctrinating children into the extremist mindset. I mean, generally, I really dig the notion of a classical liberal arts education, foreign language, studying classic literature, philosophy, science, art, analyzing the history of knowledge, and so on. I got a bit of that myself simply from studying the fine arts and continuing to do so for decades after I had left school. But that's not what this is. The classical schooling movement, as currently constituted, is about rejecting modernity. So you read about the Enlightenment philosophy, but only so you can twist it and ultimately rule out modern applications of Enlightenment principles. That and a lot of Yahweh and Jesus, which of course is just fine, but not in a framework where you're explicitly rejecting today's real world. So, it's King David's Nads at issue here, and you know Tallahassee Classical is full of shit because classical civilization had no problem with nudity in art. It's just fine for 6th graders to see it. I mean, it's better than fine. Michelangelo's David is absolutely one of the most awesome things the West has to offer. I myself first saw a photograph of David when I was in 4th grade in a Renaissance art book. Yeah, I giggled a bit at his exposed penis, but I was also awestruck by the statue's beauty and majesty. For the first time in my life at that point, I felt connected to the history of who we are, like I'm a part of a greater cultural whole. In 4th grade, no less. You need a permission slip, I think, if you're going to see a Robert Mapplethorpe gay fisting black and white art photo, but not to see David. The parents who complained about this and the board trustees who took those complaints seriously are all redneck trash. An embarrassment to the nation. Seriously, Europeans are laughing at us. The mayor of Florence invited this disgraced principal to come hang out in Michelangelo's hometown, take in the sights, bathe in the culture and history as an honored guest. But while Europe is laughing, and I don't blame them one bit, this incident is serious fucking business. It is only the latest atrocity in the right-wing all-out assault against knowledge and learning. You know, calling drag queens and even acknowledgement that gay people exist, well, that's pornography to them. Studying race relations and official oppression, that's divisive and makes white people feel bad. They're trying to wipe out disciplined, evidence-based thinking in order eventually to destroy freedom and democracy and replace it with a white supremacy state. That's why they're so touchy about King David's Nads and its bullshit. I'm Ron Reeder, and this has been Ron Reeder Digs the Universe. Join me, Ron Reeder, again next week for another episode of Ron Reeder Digs the Universe.